Number 1. Virginia State Trooper violently breaks into a car. A Virginia State Trooper, Charles Hewitt, recently lost his job due to a traffic stop that he conducted in 2019. After noticing a car with an expired inspection sticker, Trooper Hewitt signaled it to pull over. The driver complied with the signal. Upon approaching the vehicle, the trooper confronted the 29-year-old driver, Derek Thompson. As soon as the police pulled him over, Thompson started filming the whole incident, a wise move on Thompson's part, as the trooper's attitude would confirm. Without any permission, Trooper Hewitt unlocked his car door and then started threatening Thompson.
You can't do that, sir. This officer is trying to unlock my car. This officer is unlocking my car, and I'm being forcefully removed.
Take a look at me. I'm a specimen right here, buddy.
Sir,
you have gotten on my last
my
nerve.
hands are...
Trooper Hewitt told Thompson that he was getting on his nerves and asked him to exit the vehicle. However, feeling unsafe, Thompson denied it. Little did he know that in doing so, Thompson had hurt the trooper's ego. The shocking part of this conversation is that Hewitt didn't even tell Thompson why he was being detained. As his demands were met with denial, he proceeded to threaten Thompson once again.
Camera.
All right?
I'm in no threat.
You're going to get your looked in front of the Lord and all creation. I'm going to give you one more chance.
As Hewitt continued threatening Thompson, his two colleagues, who were standing with him, didn't even bother to correct him. Continuing with his rude and completely unprofessional behavior, Trooper Hewitt warned Thompson that he would count to 3, and if Thompson didn't exit the car, then he would drag him out. But Thompson stayed firm in his position and asked the trooper why he was being stopped.
One hand on this camera.
Well, come on,
my seatbelt is being arrested.
As long as your hands are up, that's fine.
I'm not resisting.
As long as your hands are up.
I was unlawfully.
Okay, come on
sir,
up.
please do not touch me, sir. It's not about
I'm
this.
giving you to the count of 3.
Sir,
Don't do it.
I'm not touching this officer.
As the trooper's demands and threats were met with little response, he told Thompson that he was now being arrested, and when Thompson asked the reason for his arrest, all hell broke loose. With a scary smile on his face, Trooper Hewitt said, "Watch the show, folks," to the camera, and dragged Thompson out of the vehicle.
Threatened me, and I'm making it known I am no threat to this officer. I've been threatened.
Watch the show,
My
folks.
life is in danger. My life is in danger.
How do you like that? How do you like that?
Once not in front of the camera, the trooper used all the excessive force that he could. Although the camera couldn't record the scene, it did record the conversation, which wasn't pleasant at all.
Oh, put your hands behind your back. Put your hands. Yes, you are. I'm not resisting. You are. No, I'm not. Put your hands behind my back. Get off me. My hands are behind my back. My hands are behind my back. I am not resisting. Sir, please get off my neck.
Thompson kept telling Hewitt that he was harming him. However, there was no backing down from the trooper. After being handcuffed, Thompson was transported to the police station where he was charged. When presented in court, Thompson pled guilty to a misdemeanor obstruction of justice, but didn't give up pursuing Trooper Hewitt for using excessive force against him. He filed a federal lawsuit against the Virginia State Police, which resulted in a settlement of $20,000, but the state didn't admit any wrongdoing. However, what is shocking on the state's part is that while it did not admit any wrongdoing, the state police did fire Trooper Hewitt, claiming that his conduct was inappropriate. The conduct displayed by Trooper Hewitt during the course of the traffic stop is not in agreement with the established standards of conduct required of a Virginia trooper, Colonel Gary Settle, the Virginia State Police Superintendent, said in his statement. Following the dismissal of the trooper, Thompson and his attorney, Joshua Ehrlich, expressed their happiness. Mr. Thompson filed this case because Trooper Hewitt's behavior was unconscionable, and Mr. Thompson is happy with the outcome, Attorney Ehrlich said. He thought he deserved and received monetary compensation, and although the VSP did not admit to any wrongdoing, Mr. Thompson is heartened Trooper Hewitt is no longer on the street and thinks Virginia is safer for it. Although Trooper Hewitt is not on the street anymore, there are multiple other troopers who are ready to fill in his shoes. The next case involves one such trooper, Ryan Wingo, who crashed into a car and then arrested its driver. Number 2. Arrogant trooper arrests a man for pointing out his mistake. On May 10, 2019, Arkansas State Trooper Ryan Wingo was driving eastbound on Malvern Road in Garland, Arkansas, when he noticed a speeding car coming from the opposite side and did a U-turn to conduct a traffic stop. However, while doing so, the trooper didn't turn on his lights, and instead of turning from the center left turn lane, Trooper Wingo made the U-turn from the left lane. This reckless driving and illegal turn resulted in the disruption of traffic. Noticing the trooper's no regard for the traffic rules, Charles Donner, who was driving right behind Wingo's police cruiser, honked to remind him that he was not the only one driving on the road. However, somehow this simple act offended the trooper. Wingo abandoned the chase and made a 360-degree turn to conduct Donner's traffic stop, realizing that Donner pulled over to the side of the road. But the trooper appeared to be in the mood for some adventure as he rammed his cruiser into Donner's car. After crashing into his car, Trooper Wingo demanded that Donner pull over in a nearby parking lot. Donner complied and Wingo followed him. As he was in the middle of conducting a traffic stop, Wingo announced the made-up reason for the traffic stop, saying,
Shoe factory. I had a car slam on the brakes in front of me.
Wingo said on the radio that while driving eastbound, a car slammed on the brakes in front of him. However, nothing was further from the truth. As we saw, the trooper turned on his emergency lights and signaled Donner to stop, which he did. The reason why Wingo's cruiser crashed into the car was that Wingo's feelings had been hurt by Donner's honking. After pulling him over, Wingo approached Donner and asked him to present his ID. Knowing his rights, Donner asked why he was being pulled over.
Why are you pulling me over? Because you're following me too closely and nearly ran into me. No, I did not. You slammed on your brakes. You had no brake. You had no turn signal enough.
With the passing of time, Trooper Wingo continued updating his made-up story about the traffic stop. Wingo's story quickly turned from, I had a car slam on the brakes in front of me, to, I had a car following too closely, which nearly ran into me. I turned around, got behind it, and it slammed on the brakes in front of me.
Brakes. I had a car following me too closely, nearly ran into me, turned around, got behind it, and it slammed on the brakes in front of me. I was unable to stop. I have a 1038 between my own and his view.
But no matter what details Wingo used to explain his story, his dashcam footage completely disagreed with his statements. As the trooper returned to Donner's car after telling lies to his supervisor, Donner and his wife, Brittany, who was also in the car, asked him if they could see the damage his cruiser had done to their car. However, the trooper was in no mood for listening to the opposite side, as he already had a fake story to excuse all his mistakes.
I want to see the damage done to my vehicle.
Give me a minute. We're on a traffic stop right now. Once I get done with my traffic stop, for following too closely.
To have an excuse for arresting Donner and his wife, the trooper asked Brittany to show her ID, even after her husband had revealed his identification. Donner denied handing it over, and this is when things turned out to be ugly.
You can hit me. There's no damage between our vehicles, though. I don't give a bro. You hit me. Get out of the car. Get out. Okay. Get out of the car. Okay. Get out of the car. I'm getting out. There's no need to cuss you. Sergeant, stand up. Stand up. I'm trying. Okay. Come on.
This is f***ing ridiculous. This is ridiculous.
As the trooper dragged out her husband and handcuffed him, Brittany started recording the whole incident on her phone. After putting Donner in the back of his police car, Wingo returned to Brittany and told him that there was no need to cuss him out.
Why are you doing this?
Ma'am, there was no need for cussing me out. Until he can calm down and act like an adult, he's going to send back the car.
Now, an important thing to mention here is that according to the U.S. Supreme Court, cussing out a police officer is protected speech and is guarded by the First Amendment. Freedom of speech is protected under the First Amendment to the United States Constitution. So non-threatening verbal abuse of a police officer is not in itself criminal behavior. And since there were no threats in Donner's words directed toward the trooper, Wingo had no valid reason to drag him out of the car and put him in handcuffs.
He's going to send back the car.
Let me explain to you. My husband has severe PTSD. Severe. He's a 100% disabled veteran. And that's why I'm here.
Brittany told the trooper that her husband is a veteran and was suffering from severe PTSD, which is why he lost his temper. But if we see Wingo's attitude from the beginning of the traffic stop, anyone, even without PTSD, would have lost control as well. After a while, Wingo's supervisor arrived on the scene and asked the trooper about the reason for the stop. Wingo repeated the same old story that he had memorized very well by now.
He moves straight over from the inside lane to the outside lane, moves straight over and just slams on the brakes.
After detaining him for a long time, the trooper finally released Donner, but not before handing him over citations. Donner received 2 citations, one for following too closely and the other for parking on a highway, which, if we look at the dashcam footage, both were wrong. Following the encounter, Mr. and Mrs. Donner filed a lawsuit against Trooper Wingo. However, if we look at the trooper's past record, there doesn't seem to be much hope that he would be held accountable. In one traffic stop, Wingo pulled over a motorcyclist for allegedly speeding. According to Wingo, the motorcyclist jumped off his motorcycle and ran into the woods, and this is when the trooper shot him to death. Wingo later said that the suspect tried to take his gun, and that's why he shot him. What makes this case even more shocking is that a local Arkansas prosecutor deemed Wingo's use of deadly force justified. But this was not the only time that Wingo had been involved in a controversial case. During the Black Lives Matter protests in the Arkansas Capitol, Wingo fired at a protester with beanbag projectiles, which resulted in the shattering of the protester's jaw. Adding insult to injury, he was charged with obstructing the government's operations based on Wingo's police report. I hope that things change this time, and and that Donner and Brittany get the justice that they deserve. As of now, Trooper Ryan Wingo is still employed by the Arkansas State Police. If you want to expose more of these corrupt cops, please subscribe to the channel.